Welcome to Roundabout Oxford, a podcast from the University of Mississippi Libraries.
Welcome to part 1 of the Student Takeover episode. My name is Taylor Fields. I'm currently a junior majoring in Integrated Marketing Communications at the University of Mississippi. As my years here as an undergraduate are slowly winding down, my anxiety about the future is steadily rising. Recently, I had a conversation with my friends about how they were nervous about life after college, and that conversation made me realize that I wasn't alone. So for this episode, I spoke with some alumnus to get some tips on how they developed certain skills while attending college that helped ease some of the stress that comes along with preparing for life after graduation. Today, I spoke with Brandon Rooke, who gave tips about networking.
So my name is Brandon Rooke. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I graduated from the University of Mississippi in 2014.
You're a PR manager at Newman's Own Foundation. So what are some of your tasks that you do for your occupation?
Yeah, so I handle social media. So I post on all of our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I also am a photographer and videographer for the company. So I create content, for our social media pages, and also just internally, in-house, for the company. I take photos at events, at company events, and videos at company events as well. And also, as far as with public relations, I help build stories, to help us get coverage through the media. So we're a philanthropy foundation, so we work with a lot of different nonprofits across the world, and these nonprofits are our grantees. We give money to them. So I am in constant communication with our grantees about what they have going on, because I pitch stories to the media about what they have going on, so that they can get coverage as well. So it's a little bit of everything.
Do you feel like college prepared you for the workforce and the real world?
Yeah, to a certain extent. My time at the University of Mississippi is a little different, because I actually went there to become a TV reporter, journalist, and it definitely prepared me to be that. But I recently made the transition into PR. But as far as just, prepping me for, a career in broadcast journalism, most definitely. And I think, students who are involved in, IMC, I'm pretty sure, it's the same exact things. But I kind of took a different route into the current role that I have.
Okay. What did you think of Ole Miss after your 4 years here?
I loved it, to be honest with you. Like, I really didn't know what to expect, just due to, the South and, just the racial tones of like Mississippi and Ole Miss. But I really didn't have any issues. I actually had some of the best times of my life at the campus, and I learned a lot, connected with a lot of folks and friends for life. And, I feel like the professors really prepared me. They were well connected. And I had a lot of great opportunities. Like, I got a lot of great internships and a lot of opportunities as a production assistant on a lot of different, networks that came through, like the SEC network for football games. ESPN came through. The Travel Channel came through. I did some stuff with like CBS News. So I had a lot of great opportunities, and I feel like the education there was definitely worth it, for sure.
Okay, so how did you get into like the ESPN? Like, how did that come about? How did you find it?
Well, yeah, I think I kind of just connected through professors. I'm not sure what how they do it nowadays, but I was really close to Deb Wenger, Nancy DuPont, Scott Feeney, Robin Street, just to name a few.
Mm-hmm.
There's some more others. Mickey Newton. I don't know if she's still there, but I was close to a lot of professors. So basically, when these companies would come to the area, they would reach out to our professors and they would say, hey, do you have some students to help us out with? And then they would send out like a mass email or some sorts, or they would post flyers like throughout the building. We need some students to help out with this and that. And I would just sign up. Like I would jump at every opportunity, not only because, it was an opportunity to learn and get better in the field, but also, it was an opportunity to make some money too. So I was just taking advantage of all those opportunities. But really, it came through the professors. It definitely wasn't on my own, because one thing about the professors there is they were working in the business. They had previous careers in the business, so they were definitely connected. So it was definitely beneficial to tap into that and tap into their network.
What are some tips that you have for networking, like for undergraduates and like seniors?
Your network determines your net worth, and I am a big believer in that. So I mean, really, when it comes to networking, I think you have to have something to offer. It's kind of like a negotiation for both sides. Like, what can, both sides get out of this situation? So even if you don't have much to offer, you can offer, your skill set. Like, I'm eager, I'm eager to get better. I'm eager to become a sponge. I want to get better. And, I feel like, me working under you, or you mentoring me, or me working with this company, or me interning with this company will be beneficial to me, because I get to learn, but also to you because, I'm willing to do anything to make it work. So in regards to networking, like like have something to offer, number one. Number two, like reach, like as a student, I feel like you got to tap into like, young professional organizations. So one that I know that's beneficial to like African American students would possibly be like the Urban League or something like that. You can tap into that organization because there's lots of young professionals in there who could, help you become better. But when it comes to networking, really it's just about like not being afraid to ask for anything, from anybody. Like you kind of gotta just be bold a little bit and be comfortable with no's, because a lot of time, a part of, growing is rejection too. And, I've been rejected from plenty of opportunities, but really all you need is one yes. So that's one thing that I do want to say is don't get discouraged by the rejection and the no's, because that's a part of life. That's a part of the process. But you got to just keep trying and, stay the course and stick at it. And eventually, you will get that yes. So networking is really, just about talking to any and everybody about, what you do, what you're interested in, what you provide, what you can offer. And then, being hopeful that, there could be a potential partnership, but sometimes it doesn't work out in your favor. But don't let that discourage you. Like keep on trying, because a no is not a bad thing, because it kind of like pivots you and redirects you in the right direction. So if you get a no going to the right, at least you know not to go to the right anymore. You can like head to the left. It'll put you in the right direction so you can get closer to your yes.
I like that. So, what advice would you give a senior who's about to graduate but has no experience in their field?
Well, how far are they from graduating?
6 months or so.
6 months. Well, my advice would be to try to get some experience before you graduate, whether that be, through a paid experience or unpaid experience. Some students, they want like to get paid to do everything, but sometimes in some situations, free work just for that experience will be more beneficial in the long run. So even if you're 6 months out and there aren't any paid experiences for you to get experience, try to see if you can do things for free to get that experience, because we live in a world now where people want to see experience before they hire you. Like it'll be very difficult for you to get hired if you don't have any experience. So my advice would be to try to get some experience. So how do you do that? How do I get experience? Like I said earlier, talk to your professors, like set up some meetings with them and be like, hey, I do not have any experience in what I'm trying to do. Do you have any contacts, or do you know of any opportunities that, I could benefit from? I think that's the first step, because having experiences is so beneficial, and it's very important in today's world.
What clubs or extracurricular activities would you recommend for students?
anything where you can create and do things where you can build a portfolio. You know what I mean? So if that's taking photos, if that's taking video, these are the types of things that you should put yourself into. You should put yourself with these opportunities so that you can grow as a student and as a journalist or PR professional. Because this is a very competitive field, a very competitive workforce, whether that's journalism or PR. So you want to make sure that you have that portfolio and you have that experience that'll set you apart from your competition and your competitors.
Okay, so if you were in I guess you kind of are in a position to hire people, I guess, but if you were in a position to hire people, what would you be looking for when you're looking at their resume?
Well, definitely, I want to see your experience. Like, I really want to see like your portfolio, like what substantial work have you done that relates to this job that I'm about to hire you for. So if I'm hiring you for social media, I want to see some social media posts that you've done for the Ole Miss magazine or the Ole Miss TV station or the radio station. If I'm hiring you for social media, I want to see what type of photos and video have you taken, or what type of content have you created. Like, I want to see your work. Like, I'm more into that more than the paper resume. I really want to see the things that you've done. Also, I think I look for certain qualities. Like, I like to see if you're a good fit personality wise. So certain skill sets that would benefit a student in getting a job is definitely someone who is good with time management, someone who has integrity, someone who's organized. Those are certain qualities that I would look for.
Okay, would you advise a senior to go ahead and start applying for jobs, or should they do internships instead? Like, if they,
It depends. Like, do they have experience or no experience?
let's say, like at least maybe a year and a half experience.
Yeah, I would apply to jobs. Yeah, I would definitely apply to jobs. But that goes back to networking too. Like, a lot of times people hire who they know rather than, so it's like this, like there's people who get jobs who aren't as qualified as others, but they just know people because they know how to network well. So I would say apply to jobs, but also like network. So if So I would do like follow up. So once I apply to a job, I will probably send like a follow up email to the hiring manager or do research to figure out who's hiring that position to see if you could, sit down with them for, coffee or just to pick their brain to learn more about the position. You got to do like small things like that to kind of just show that you're really interested in it rather than just submitting a resume. Submitting an application, because a lot of people just fill out the applications and submit them, but those who go the extra mile may stick out. Those people who send up follow-up messages, or if you get an interview, right, sending a thank you email after, like, thank you for spending time to taking time out of your day to interview with me. I really enjoyed it, and would love to come back for a second interview or whatnot. So like those small little gestures, I feel like can help people stand out. But yes, apply to jobs, but also network. Like, if you know a company that's hiring, kind of look on the roster and see if you know someone on there. But even if you don't, like, look at people and see if you could relate to them. Like, if there's someone who I feel like just from a picture, I feel as though, that they will be helpful, I will send them an email and be like, hey, I just applied to this job here and here. I just wanted to know if you had time, to talk. I would love to learn more about the position. So small things like that. But yes, please apply. Please apply.
Taylor Tucker is a graduate student here at the university who advocates the importance of having a mentor.
I'm Taylor Tucker from Jackson, Mississippi. I just graduated the University of Mississippi May 2020. So I'm a COVID baby that didn't get a graduation. So now I'm still located in Oxford. I'm currently working towards my master's, and I'm working in Tupelo, Mississippi at WTVA.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're a COVID baby, so graduation happened during COVID for you. So how was like the transitioning from being a graduate student to working for WTVA during the pandemic? How did that work out for you?
Yeah, I mean, really and truly, it was one of those things where nothing went as planned. So I initially, was ready to move out of state and, just take any job that I possibly could. It didn't even have to be within the broadcast field. But due to the virus, a lot of jobs were not hiring. So like, what do I do? So I ended up accepting a scholarship to go to grad school at Ole Miss. So I was like, okay, well, that's the safest thing to do. And literally maybe like 2 weeks before the program started, WTVA offered me a position. And so I was like, I guess I can juggle two things at one time. So right now, I am juggling two different things, and it was kind of difficult for me to do that in the beginning. But with COVID, everybody's changing their plans and doing things a little bit differently. So I've learned to adapt so far.
Okay, adapting is a skill that I feel like you learn as you proceed through college. What's another skill or quality that you developed while attending Ole Miss that has helped you get to where you currently are today?
I'm a planner. So I live on a calendar. I plan everything, and I'm writing down, what do I have to do? When do I have to do it? So for me, it's always, setting a to-do list and then marking it off as you continue to do that. And I think that's what's kept me on pace, and that's what kept me focused, because when you have to get something done, you will do what it takes to get it done. So the biggest skill that I've learned is to be able to create a to-do list and to stay on task.
What's your best advice that you would give to someone who feels pressured, like, I guess, say more instance, like a senior that feels pressured about going out there into the real world, applying for jobs or internships, or like even if they haven't gotten any experience in college, like what would you tell them if they feel pressured about that?
I think the first advice would be to just take it day by day. I remember being a senior, and it was the fall semester, and I was worried about what I was going to do after, after I graduated. And I just feel like you never really know what's going to happen. Some things just happen for you. And so just take things day by day and continue to learn and work at your craft or whatever it is. Perfect that. And I promise you, something's going to come your way. It's going to work out. And sometimes you got to go down a dark path for you to finally get what you've been seeking for. But, just continue to work at what you're doing, to get better, seek help, because it's okay to ask people, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, I need help, and just take it day by day.
Okay, so asking people for help, I guess that's more like, networking. So what are some tips that you have for undergraduates about networking?
I feel like networking is up there with getting your degree. It's just as important. Definitely, connect with people. For me, I was in the journalism program, so I made an effort to have a relationship with each and every professor. One of my favorite professors is RJ Morgan. Having a relationship with him led me to be a TA for him. And so I was able to, work with other students, and having that TA position opened the doors for me to, put something on my resume and to meet other people at, conventions and stuff like that. So I always say, making connections is just as important as seeking your degree. And that's going to be really useful for any student.
Okay. So when building relationships with your professors, do you just, go in office hours and talk to them? Do you just be like, hey, like I'm a student and I just, need a mentor? Like, I feel like a lot of undergraduates don't really know how to approach their professors, or you know what I'm saying? Like they're just nervous about it. So what would you necessarily go say to somebody about that?
It's whatever in your comfort zone. I was kind of did it the old fashioned way. So the very first day after class, I went and I introduced myself to the professor and was like, hey, I'm excited about taking your class. I'm excited about being here. Here's a heads up that I will be emailing you so that I can, ask you questions. I'll be emailing you about setting up an appointment to just come in and talk about, where I'm at now and where I want to be. So you can do it the old fashioned way with just introducing yourself to them, or you can write an email, or you can just stop by during their office hours. There's several different ways for you to access your professors after class and to build a relationship with them.
Building your resume and things, how did you go about that in college, building up your resume to get the position you have now?
If you look at my freshman year resume from where it is now, it's completely different. So, my freshman year, it was filled with stuff on my resume was, like Student Activities Association or different organizations that just involve you to connect with other people. And then towards my sophomore year, I kind of figure out what is it that I want to do? What audience do I want my resume to target? And I realized that my passion was journalism. So I started joining journalism clubs. I started going to journalism conventions. I started working for Newswatch. I started working for Rebel Radio. So, and then I did internships at news stations. So I think you have to figure out what it is that you want to do in life, and then do things that helps get you experience for that particular position. So I think that's how I built my resume, by getting into clubs that were more focused on what I wanted to do after I graduated.
Okay, so for seniors, some of them, don't have any experience in their field. Maybe they know what they want to do. Like, I know I have some friends, like, they know what they want to do, but they can't really seem to get the experience. So after graduating, would you suggest that they not do internships or just apply for real jobs, or should they are internships still okay after graduation? Things like that.
Both. So if you don't have experience, it's never too late to get experience. Just because you graduated doesn't mean you have to stop working on your craft. Even now, I'm still getting an education while working, at a news station. So it's both a learning experience. So I say, get a job that, that makes you, you can afford your bills and stuff. So the money is coming in, but also get an internship and learn from that internship, so that job is only temporary. So once you've learned all the materials that you need, you can now start applying for other jobs that are in your field. So I think that's something that a lot of people have to realize, that like after you graduate, that doesn't mean you have to stop learning. You know what I mean? You're not on a timeline or anything, continue learning, continue perfecting your craft, and you're going to get there. So take whatever job that you can take, but continue working on your craft so that you can end up where you're supposed to be.
Okay. You're giving out some really good advice today.
I hope so.
What's one of the biggest lessons you learned in college that still applies to your life today?
Everything isn't going to always go my way. In high school, when you're involved in so many organizations and no organization turns you around, you think that's just how life is. And it's not. Everything isn't going to go your way. You have to always have a B plan, a C plan, and so forward. So just know that sometimes things are going to change and you just have to adjust your plans. So never just get too comfortable with doing things one way, because this is life and it's constantly changing.
The change part is big, considering COVID literally changed everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're in a sorority. Has being in a sorority helped you, like, in the career field? I know some people say, like, being in a sorority helps you with networking in the corporate field and things like that. Has it helped you?
Yeah, when you're in a sorority, you're meeting over, thousands of women, and every lady is in a different field. And so you just connect with a lot of people, and then you end up connecting with people that are in the exact same position that you're striving to be. For instance, at the news station that I'm at now, the anchor is Tanya Carter, and she's a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, which is the same sorority that I'm in. And she and I have gotten to, make a connection beyond news, you know what I mean? So it's good to see people, even women of color, places that you want to be in. So, they can kind of be a mentor and kind of show you the ropes. So it's always a good thing when you can connect with other women, other African-American women, and women in your field that you aspire to be in. So I definitely, can definitely speak highly of my sorority and just the D9 in general. You're connecting with people from all over the world based off a sorority or fraternity.
What's some advice you would give to someone who's afraid of stepping out of their comfort zone?
I think first thing first is you have to realize the only way to grow is to get out your comfort zone. And when you realize that, you become more prone to actually do things that you wouldn't usually do. Mm-hmm. For instance, and my testimony is that I didn't really do anything journalism related, honestly, until my junior year, late in my junior year, because, I was always nervous. I was like, well, if I try out for Newswatch and I don't make it, I was scared of rejection. But sometimes rejection helps elevate you. And so you just have to go after things that you're scared of, because you got to get out your comfort zone one day, because you do not want to be, 40 years old realizing that you never even tried. There's no formula for it, there's no age limit. Like, you can't say, okay, well, because I didn't do it at 19, I'm never going to do it. My story isn't the same as any other person. Your story isn't the same as mine. We all have to create our own story, and it's going to unfold over time. You just have to be patient, and you have to do the things that are required for you to get where you want to be.
I want to thank you so much for joining me today and participating. You make this go really smoothly for me as well.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Roundabout Oxford was developed and produced by Brian Corrigan, Taylor Fields, Alan Munchauer, Abigail Norris, Christina Streeter, and Alex Watson. This episode was narrated by Taylor Fields and Gail Herrera. Thank you for listening to Roundabout Oxford.